What is up, everyone? Thanks for joining and hanging out with us to talk about the UFC 263 card that just happened. And, the boys are back. Josh, welcome back, man. And one thing I want to stress to everyone, there is a number scrolling across the bottom. Call that number. We will pick up. I promise you. We will talk with you. Let's digest this card together because lots of implications on this card. And if you're not a fan of the decision, it wasn't a night for you. If you're a fan of fights in general, whether decision, knockout, submission, whatever it is, then you had a great night of fights. And, overall, I think that this card, it was a little anticlimactic, but there was just so many things to take away from the card as a whole. And listen, I made money, pretty good money, by complete accident, all due to Brendan Moreno. So my night is set.
I thought it was going to be Paul Craig that you won money on.
Well, yeah, I picked Paul Craig by sub, and for some reason,
that's right.
It should have been a sub, though. It was bullshit. Like, it should have been a sub win. I mean, because my thing is, you had his arm was flapping like this 3 times. That's a tap. And then also, it looked like Jamal Hill tapped. Like, at one point, it looked like he tapped, and the ref just didn't see it. So I was a little pissed by that, but, whatever. Paul Craig's a savage, though. And Jamal Hill, that was this year between the leg break of Chris Weidman and the arm snapping. God, a year of just gross things happening.
They said later on in the broadcast, it was a dislocation of the elbow. He didn't break his arm. But
yeah,
I don't know why he would offer to go to the ground with Paul Craig, because he did opt for it. And then it ended up being a terrible decision for Jamal Hill.
Yeah, and that's his first loss, but he only had 8 fights in his career, or I guess 9, the one no contest. So that's kind of why I saw that fight going the way it did. Basically just because of the experience factor. Paul Craig's been in there so many more times than Jamal Hill, and a lot of times you see things like that, and a lot of times it's okay. The guy with the more experience tends to win those fights, and I think Jamal Hill is going to be very good, but only 9 fights, and you're in the UFC fighting someone who's been in there with a lot of guys. That's a tough task, especially someone with the ground ability like Paul Craig.
Yeah, I don't get mad at decisions as much. There was a lot of split decisions. There was a lot of unanimous decisions tonight, but when you're in there in the octagon with someone who is as equally as good as you, that's going to happen, because the matchups tonight were insane. The matchups tonight were really good. You go to Yves Loev, you go to even Lauren Murphy and Calderwood, like split decisions, Eric Anders running it back. Crazy night of matchups, so I wasn't mad. And even the main event went to decision. Moreno was pretty surprising, I guess, to a lot of people that he was able to finish.
Yeah, my last point before we get to the main event, and then we'll work our way back. Eric Anders needs to move back to 185. Every time I see that, and I love Eric Anders. Those of you that are on our channel know that Eric Anders has been on our show. He's a great guy. He just looks way better at 185. The power is better. I know the weight cut probably sucks. He's told us many times he hates cutting weight. He's a guy that loves to eat, and I get it. But he just looks slower and just doesn't do much at 205. He does much better at 185. The power is better. We saw the difference. We saw the difference in the first fight against Darren Stewart to this one. He tended to gas a little bit quicker, and it was for me. I think Eric Anders is a better 185er, but he's getting older, and I get it. The weight cut sucks. That's just me personally. I would like to see him back at 185.
Yeah. I feel like Darren Stewart, the quality of opponents that he's fought, is really good. He's fought in like Julian Marquez and Eric Anders twice, not to mention a lot of other people in the middleweight division. I feel like Eric Anders is finally putting it together, that athlete style. He's looking better. This fight was at 205, which was a surprise to a lot of people, but I think he looked good tonight. He wasn't able to get the finish, but I did not expect him to win that fight. Like, truthfully, didn't expect it. So I was impressed regardless because he got the win.
Yeah, but I want to move to the main event now, and then we'll work our way backwards. But so we had Izzy, Marvin Vettori. I think a lot of us kind of saw it going this way. Vettori I was impressed with two things from Vettori. His cardio was there the whole time, and the ability to wear the leg kicks. And I think he showed he belongs where he's at. I think 3, 4, 5, perfect spot for him. I think he gives a lot of guys fits in the division. His chin is very good. He hit Izzy a couple times. But the other thing is, Vettori, prior to this, when he fought Jack Hermanson and when he fought Kevin Holland, he got hit quite a bit. Even though he won those fights, he still got hit a lot. And I feel like he really didn't get hit all that much in this fight against a guy who is a sniper like Izzy. I feel like I was expecting him to get hit more, and I feel like he got hit more in the Kevin Holland fight than he did in this fight, if minus the leg kicks. He wore a lot of leg kicks. And this is a fight. This is Izzy. And, Izzy does one of two things. He either puts you away with volume, or he just fights smart, stays on the outside, and becomes a decision win. Yeah. It's never one or the other, or it's never something out of the ordinary. That's what you're going to get, one or the other. And I really like Izzy. And I think you saw the difference tonight too. At 85, the dude was able to stuff the takedowns, or if he got taken down, was able to flip the switch real quick and get back up on his feet, where at 205 he wasn't able to do. Nico says if Vettori genuinely thought he won, or Rafael Cordero make him want to smack him around. I think he meant to say may want to smack him around a little bit. I think Rafael Cordero was ready to smack him around between each round. He didn't seem too happy with the way Vettori was performing.
What I saw was, Paulo Costa was his last 185 opponent. Paulo Costa didn't respect his power, and so he hit him with the head kick. And Vettori respected the head kick from Adesanya, so he was willing to take the leg kick all 5 rounds, and he did take it all 5 rounds. He's able to take any leg kick from any 85er all 5 rounds, but Adesanya was able to just outsmart him. He held too much stock in the takedown. He thought he could get Adesanya to the ground when, in actuality, he could not. So Adesanya ended up just dominating. That's why you saw the 50-45, I think, is Adesanya. No one can hold his jock strap, per se, at 85. No one can fucking touch Adesanya at 85. Maybe Whitaker can.
I think Whitaker is going to be tough. I don't know.
It's going to be a good fight. That's what I'm excited for. That's what we were expecting tonight, is Adesanya getting past Vettori so we can have that fight between Whitaker and Adesanya. Because that even though he finished him in dominating fashion, I feel like everyone feels like, and even in the MMA community, everyone feels like that it's going to be much more competitive for some reason. And
I agree. I think you have to understand Whitaker's that first fight against Izzy came back from a 2-year layoff from the leg, a severe leg injury. And I think ring rust was a real thing in that fight. Now, that's not discrediting Izzy at all. I think Izzy put on one of the best performances we've ever seen from him in that fight. So I'm not trying to discredit him at all, but I think that a lot of that had to play, Whitaker's layoff had to play into that fight. And we've seen now Whitaker has flipped the switch, and he almost seems like he's a different fighter. He's utilizing the takedowns now, which you saw Izzy's style change when he fought against Costa. He wasn't scared to stay in the center of the octagon and piece Costa up. This fight against Vettori, he's on the cage the whole time because he has to think about the takedown. If he gets pushed up against the fence, it's almost easier to defend it then rather than be in the middle of the octagon. I think that plays in Whitaker's favor a little bit, especially because Whitaker is a better striker than Vettori. He's you know what I mean? So I think that's where it gives Izzy fits. Izzy doesn't really get hit too much. Like, I think that the flurries that Vettori was throwing were more deceiving than what was really happening. I think a lot of people thought that Izzy was getting hit. Izzy just fights with his hands down and kind of rolls with the punches, which at times can look bad or look scary, but I never once really saw Izzy get hit real well. And I think that's the difference between Izzy and Whitaker is the movement and the ability to evade. I think Izzy's defensive boxing is incredible, and I think that's what a lot of people love about him. But I do think the second fight is a tougher, closer fight than the first one. I still think I have to ride with Izzy. I just think at 185, Izzy right now is really hard to bet against. I think if Whitaker's plus money by like a finish or decision, I'm taking it for money purposes. But from pick purposes, I think I would go Izzy in that fight. But I think it's a closer fight than the first one.
Most definitely. It's what we wanted at 185. Whitaker was a great champion, dominant champion. Adesanya might be one of the greatest ever. So you just kind of match him up now.
Yeah, he's definitely on the verge of being one of the greatest, if not the greatest middleweight of all time. So we go to, I don't know if you have anything else. I don't know where Vettori goes from here. Maybe Paulo Costa, if he ever comes back, who knows? I don't dislike Vettori. He's just, to me, he's not a good enough striker. And he's obviously not that great of a wrestler. He's good enough to get you down, but you got to be able to hold him down. And I thought that personally, if Vettori was going to get this fight to the ground, and which he did on a couple of occasions, I thought he was going to be able to hold Izzy there more. He's dude stacked. He's a massive looking dude. I thought he'd be able to keep at Izzy on his back, and he didn't at all. Like Izzy easily switched positions, easily got out from the cage, everything like that. So I don't know where Vettori goes from here. I think he's good. I think where his rank is now is perfect. I just don't know if he ever gets to that next tier. His striking isn't good enough, and his wrestling is obviously not good enough to hold guys like Izzy on the ground.
Most definitely. It's just Izzy showed a different ground game tonight than he did against Jan, and he shows that he can hold his own on the ground against any middleweight pretty much in the division, maybe even Rob too.
Yeah, I agree. But then we get to the co-main, man, and this is the story of the night. This is the story everyone's talking about. And listen, there aren't many times that I've gotten goosebumps watching MMA. All right, yeah. I love the UFC, but there's moments like you have Conor, the knockout of Jose Aldo, when he called it like one of the greatest moments ever. You have just earlier this year the Thug Rose knockout of Zhang Wei Li and how emotional that was. But then you have this. And this tops it all for me. This is to me one of the greatest stories of all time. You have Brennan Moreno cut from the UFC in a division that really seemed like it was left for dead. Like this, once Cejudo was running through this division, it was Mighty Mouse for a long time. Then it was Cejudo, and it's like this division's going. All the 125ers are going, and then Cejudo leaves, and I almost think that was a blessing in disguise because the competition just got closer. Cejudo was almost level 1, and everyone else is level 2, right? And then Cejudo leaves, and now everyone just seems to be so close. Then you get Brennan Moreno, a guy that was cut, comes back, fights, has one of the fights of his life against Deiveson Figueiredo, and myself included, thinks the second time Deiveson Figueiredo fights Brennan Moreno, he is going to wipe the floor with him. He's a guy that throughout his career has made adjustments. He's massive for the division. And, in my opinion, I'm thinking Deiveson Figueiredo made all the reads. He's going to be better. Never once did I say, and shame on me, never once did I say that Brennan Moreno made adjustments and he got better. And he did. And this was a tough fight. Any fight for Figueiredo, he cannot walk down his opponent and put him away, is a tough fight for him. And he wasn't able to do it the first time, and he really wasn't able to do it the second time. He got rocked in round 1, almost got finished. And then round 2, man, just the choke, the sub, which I don't even know what the freaking money line was on or what the betting odds were on that. I ended up accidentally betting Brennan Moreno winning in under 2.5 rounds, and it hit by 5 seconds. It was a complete accident. I meant to bet Figueiredo by KO, which was plus 900, or Moreno by KO rather, and I ended up getting Moreno winning in under 2.5, and it was absolutely incredible for me. But just the story alone, I mean, it's just one of the greatest stories to me in MMA history. And There's a lot of, I would love to see them run it back for a third time, but then we also have Askar Askarov, who I think is an absolute stud as well, right on the verge. That division is in good hands right now. And it was one of those goosebumps moments, which to me does not happen too often in MMA.
Yeah, it's not only the first for Brandon Moreno being the first Mexican champion. He's the first champion for Iridium Sports Agency, who we've talked to their guys before, and that's a big thing too. He gives them their first champ. Going into this fight, there were so many stipulations. Figueiredo was supposed to be, or he went to the hospital the night before. He took it on a month's notice. There were so many things that made you think that Figueiredo was going to outperform Moreno this time. And DJ is my GOAT. I don't want anyone to touch his record. And I thought Figueiredo possibly could make a run for it. Not 12, but get close, maybe 5 or 6, and just kind of run this division. And Moreno really, the Ultimate Fighter is a thing. He was on it, and he came to play tonight. You come from, it's very humbling, the champion that Brandon Moreno is. And so I say Brandon Moreno greater than Canelo Alvarez right now. I'll say it.
Well, especially in the state of boxing, where boxing is right now. I would tonight we had YouTube versus TikTok. That is where boxing is currently.
Yeah, exactly. It holds more weight for me. Tonight it felt so good to see Brandon Moreno get that belt. It felt really good.
And what adversities has Canelo gone through compared to what Moreno has gone through? I mean,
he fights guys that people know he's going to beat. He's minus 500 odds every single time, at least minus 500. So and Brandon Moreno was the underdog tonight.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. I think this division, there's so many good matchups, and the fights are going to be so close because I really think with Cejudo gone, it's just one of those things where there's just so many matchups now. A lot of guys are so close. I would love to see Garbrandt move down to 25 and fight them. So I threw the money on Moreno because Figueiredo was the last man on the scale last night. And that is never a good sign when you have a hard time making weight, which he's had weight cut issues before. And I said it on the live stream. There's two things that like guys that struggle to make weight. It's all about how you replenish the next day. And I really thought that Figueiredo looked kind of depleted. I mean, when he got dropped, it was a short jab that just dropped him. And it didn't. I mean, it landed on the chin, but it wasn't anything like drastic. It was just a quick little jab and he went down. And it's like, if that's dropping him, something is wrong. He didn't look himself at all on the feet. And I think that's why in round 2, you kind of saw him lay and pray for the second round. And then you get, round 3, Moreno basically was like, that's not going to happen. He took the back and almost had to choke the first time, fights it, and then gets it a second time. And, yeah, man, it's just one of the best moments, and I think that they're going to run this back a third time. I think that that's the fight to make, really. And I don't know, some people might hate it. You have a trilogy like that, like it's back to back to back instead of a little bit of time. But I just think that's the fight that makes the most sense. I think Askar Askarov is like a win away from a belt. But other than that,
like Waleed Ismail he just annoys me, man. Like the way he tries to build up the fight and tries to like build Figueiredo up. There was so much respect in that octagon tonight, and Waleed Ismail tried to make it a bad blood type of thing. Like throughout the weigh-ins, the push, it seemed pretty forced. Like Waleed was like, "Hey man, you got to push him. You're the crybaby. You're not the assassin baby." There was so much respect in that octagon tonight, and I know Deiveson doesn't speak great English, but the way Waleed goes about promoting Deiveson specifically, I think is just annoying, and I don't like that. And you saw him nowhere near his corner tonight. Nowhere near his corner.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is with the 25 division, it's tough. That's why Mighty Mouse is no longer with the UFC. It's all the promotions and selling fights. And, unfortunately and they really didn't have to do that tonight because they weren't the headliner. I think that's what made it more cringy is Adesanya was going to sell those tickets anyway, because it's Izzy, and Nate Diaz, those two guys alone being on the card, were going to sell the fights. So he didn't really have to do it, but that's that's what it is, man. And that's unfortunate for us fans that really just want to see the fights. And martial arts is supposed to be a respect thing. And there's always going to be real bad blood between people. But when it's forced like that, it is annoying. And I 100% agree. But it's one of those things where it's like, trying to build the name, sell more, the more cringy or the more hated you are, the more you're going to sell. And it's true. And it's unfortunate, but that's the shit we got to deal with. Look at Colby Covington. It's so known that Colby Covington does not act like that around normal people. It's just a shtick, and it's aggravating, but that's what he has to do.
That's on Colby. It's just Waleed makes us try to figure out Deiveson, and we really just don't know what he's saying, So
yeah. Nico says 2021 in MMA has been the year of the feel-good champions. You have Francis, Charles Oliveira, Brendan Moreno, and Rose Namajunas. Who will be next?
Good point.
Man, I don't know, because there's really no other big underdog contenders, I think, right now. We have to see what other championship matchups we're getting, but I don't know. I mean, right now I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. I love the feel good stories though. Francis obviously coming from nothing, Charles Oliveira coming from nothing, Brendan Moreno getting cut by the UFC, Rose Namajunas dealing with what she's had to deal with and coming back from it. I mean, it's been, if you're an MMA fan, it has been just a great year already, and we're only in June. So it's going to be a great year.
Adesanya was kind of feel good tonight because they had like that guy that passed at their gym.
Yeah.
I forgot about it, but that was recent, so it was feel good.
And 100%. And Brad Riddell put on gets rocked in round one, and both those guys are tough as hell, man. That to me might be fight of the night. It'll be close between Moreno and Figueiredo, but I think that in my opinion, Riddell and Dober was a better fight. I think that Moreno deserves a performance bonus, but I think that Riddell and Dober both deserve the fight of the night. But Dober, tough as hell, and Brad Riddell. Brad Riddell gets rocked in round one, and then rounds 2 and 3 really just puts it on Drew Dober. And Drew Dober, as tough as they come, but that's 2 in a row for Mr. Dober.
Yeah, that was maybe the fight of the night. I don't think we've gotten that yet from the UFC, have we?
No, I don't think we have yet either.
That's probably the fight of the night. I mean, Leon and Nate wasn't very competitive until the end. So
I think it was boring. I didn't think it was really all that.
He didn't belong there with
Let's talk about that fight. So I think we're all in agreement that probably going to be Figueiredo Moreno too. So there's really nothing else to talk about with that. But Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz, and this fight, man, I almost think it does Leon worse. I think that this fight kind of hurts Leon because this is my thing. Like, you're ranked 3. You're fighting a guy who's not even ranked in Nate Diaz. Hasn't fought in, 2 years? And I'm not going to say I expected Leon to put him away. I'm not going to say that. But Leon, to me, was just so timid in this fight. And then at the end, you get rocked. You get rocked to the point if there was another 30 seconds, you might lose the fight. If you're getting rocked by Nate Diaz, what is going to happen when you fight Kamaru Usman? What is going to happen? Because Kamaru Usman hits 10 times harder than Nate Diaz. Now, on the other hand, you can say Nate Diaz's chin is something that is unbelievable, and would Usman be able to wear the shots that Leon gave him? I'm not saying Leon's performance was bad at all. I'm not trying to take anything away from Leon Edwards. He did what he had to do to win the fight. He is super strong. He was stronger than Diaz. He took him down at will. He looked good. I just was hoping for a little bit more. In my opinion, I felt like he looked very timid tonight. And I don't know if it was the Diaz factor, but Diaz once again goes from getting his ass beat to somehow in the last 2 minutes laying it on Leon Edwards and almost coming away with a win.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if timid is the word. I think he was too calm in there. I feel like Leon, he knew that Nate Diaz didn't belong in that octagon with him, and he dominated the whole entire fight. And then in the 5th round, he should have just gone for the finish more. He should have gone for more of his technique instead of just laid back and let Nate do whatever whatever the hell he was doing, because he was doing a lot of weird things in there. And I think Leon is at the top of the division. I think he does deserve a title shot. Maybe I would rather see him fight Colby Covington because, I mean, say what you want. Usman beat Masvidal. We all expected him to beat Masvidal. Maybe not in the way that he did beat Masvidal, but you think of that division, I think some stuff has to be figured out before you get the title shot. And Leon didn't do enough tonight. He didn't do enough tonight. He won. We expected that. Nate Diaz, we're happy to have you. Anytime you want to be in the octagon, man, we're going to watch it. But no, it's.
I said this. No one's job is safer than Nate Diaz. The dude could literally get his ass beat. If it was a 15-round fight, he'd get his ass beat for 14, but somehow he'd find out to win the 15th and save his job. It's remarkable. And listen, I said this before. I do not hate Nate Diaz whatsoever. I mean, who could hate that man? Like, it's incredible. You take 2 years off. It doesn't look like he really does anything. Like, I feel like he doesn't train. He just hangs out and then just shows up and fights. Like, it's incredible what he's done, the amount of damage he's taken over his career and somehow just doesn't get finished. It's remarkable. And, you know, I love watching him fight, and I agree with Nico. It is, you know, from a technical standpoint, Leon did what he had to do to win against a guy that is just awkward. Nate Diaz is awkward, showboated the whole time, even while getting his ass beat. You got to love it.
He gets his ass beat better than anyone on the planet.
Maybe not as good as Glover Teixeira.
Okay. He does it pretty well, though. Like, he does it well.
Glover Teixeira gets knocked out and wins. It doesn't make any sense. Like, Nate Diaz doesn't get knocked out.
No, you can't. You can't knock him out. Unless if you did, it would have been impressive. But I guess you just can't.
For me, I was expecting Leon to like almost ragdoll him, and it just didn't seem like it happened. I was expecting him to just literally destroy. Like, I thought that this was going to be the time that we saw Nate Diaz get finished, and it just didn't happen. I mean, there was just no, like, he wasn't really in danger at all, minus the leg kicks seemed to be adding up, but even those, he was fine. Like, it just. So, I mean, listen, I was happy the way it ended the way it did, because that means we're going to see more Nate Diaz. Probably not in another 2 years, but we'll see more Nate Diaz. And for Leon,
I think we'll see Nick Diaz before we see Nate Diaz.
I agree. I think so too. But it's already been announced. It's going to be Colby against Usman next, and then it's actually going to. I think Leon gets the winner of that fight, so it should all align perfect. But then we go to Leon's most recent foe, and that is that of, oh, by the way, Nate Diaz probably going to fight Conor McGregor or someone like that next. Is going to be next for Nate Diaz, which that trilogy is going to happen. It's going to happen. And especially if Conor loses, it's 1,000% happening.
Yep, you're right. And it's a main event too.
Yeah, main event.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to do, yeah. They'll have to do it because it's 1-1. There's no way either guy retires without the trilogy happening in that fight.
They're gonna have like a title fight under that, and it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, seriously, it will. That's exactly what will happen. It'll probably be like Amanda Nunes versus someone, and then Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz for the main event. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Or they might make it 3 title fights or 3 fights, 2 title fights, and it'll be Valentina on one, Amanda Nunes on the other, and then that's how they'll sell it, because it'll be 2 title fights, and then the main event is a non-title fight.
That is as gimmicky as the UFC will get. We won't get any more gimmicky than that. No Logan Paul stuff, but
or David, like, because I feel like they really don't want Moreno, like the 125 belt being a main event on a. We saw the 125 belt. We saw the 125 belt fought on a fight night. We saw it up for grabs on a fight night. Yes. So I mean that's the only other one that could happen. Other than that, no other belt is going to be on the line for that. But I did want to get to Edwards' most recent foe outside of Nate Diaz, and that was Bilal Muhammad. This fight was a buzzkill. Like, it was just, you go from the snapped arm by God, I'm losing his name already because it's 900 degrees in here. Jamal Hill's arm snapped, and then you go from that to this fight in which Damian Maia attempted 20 takedowns, and I think he landed 1. He needs to retire. Yeah, he can't listen. Bilal Muhammad didn't lie. He didn't do anything. Like, it was boring. Like, he didn't do shit. He just defended the takedown and landed a couple shots. For me, like, it was almost more unimpressive from Bilal's standpoint, because I feel like if you stuff that many takedowns and Damian Maia is tired, how the hell are you not landing more shots? Like, it just
I picked Bilal against Leon, and so I think Bilal is very good. I think he's a really good fighter, and I think he did exactly what he needed to do tonight. His record's 19-3. I think Bilal's a very good fighter.
He's a career 10 to 15 ranked guy.
Yeah,
he's never going to crack the top 10.
I know that Damian Maia was done, so I knew that Bilal Muhammad, or I feel like I should have known that Bilal Muhammad was going to dominate that fight. And he did really well defending the takedown. Did very well defending that.
100%, but that's the only thing he had to worry about. Damian Maia has pillow hands. He was not going to knock out Bilal Muhammad.
One thing to worry about in that entire fight was the takedown, and he defended it.
I just thought he would land more. I was unimpressed by Bilal Muhammad. He'll probably move into the top 10 now. He was 12. Damian Maia was 9, so he'll probably move to 10 or 9. But I think that Bilal Muhammad has a really tough time with anyone inside the top 10 outside of Damian Maia. Was the one guy that he could beat. And it's an
interesting fight to make. Whoever he fights next, it's going to be an interesting fight in the 170 division, because he's going to get a guy higher than him, I feel like, for sure. You don't
100%.
You don't go back after that.
Especially at this point in his career. They have to start pushing him, see where he's at. And like I said, I think he's a career 10 to 15 ranked guy. I don't really see anything else in his future. I just, for me, like, if you're going out there against Damian Maia, like, you better damn near like finish Damian Maia. Maybe not knock him out, but you need to land more than he did. And for me, I feel like he didn't do anything. And then he talks too much. Like, he felt like he deserved a rematch against Leon, and he didn't do shit against Damian Maia. So how the hell do you expect to beat Leon if you can barely land anything on Damian Maia? I don't know. This fight for me was the boner killer of the night. Like, you get excited from the Paul Craig freaking performance, and then this, and then it's like, okay, this is awful. And I feel like it set the tone. It was pretty anticlimactic.
170's deep. You could give Bilal a lot of names, and they would be interesting names. I don't know.
There's definitely fights in the top 10.
Yeah,
but
may not be Stephen Thompson or
no,
Luke Day, but someone lower than that. It'd be an interesting fight for sure.
I would have to pull up the rankings. I don't know the rankings right now, and it's hot as hell. My brain's not going to work. But no, yeah, I'm not out on Bilal. Like, I like Bilal Muhammad. I think that he's a good fighter. I enjoy watching his fights when it's not against Damian Maia. To me, this is the thing. When you got a striker against someone like Damian Maia, who, if they grab your neck's going to get ripped off and you're going to get finished, they fight timid, because even if you knock down someone like Damian Maia, you're not safe, because if you go in for the kill, he can cinch something up and then the fight's over. So it's like, normally when you get that striker, who Bilal Muhammad doesn't have a ground game, so you have that striker, the pure striker like Bilal, versus someone like Damian Maia, who's so dangerous. It's one of those things where it just tends to be a boring fight. Kerry can't talk into the mic. He decides he wants to write in on the chat, even though he's sitting right next to me. He tells me to suck it up. It's no worse than cutting weight for a fight. Fighters do it all the time. Yeah, guess what? I'm not a fighter. I'm fat and I'm hot, and it's really hot in here.
Well, Damian's motivation was pretty strong tonight, because he was going for the record of welterweight wins, like 23. His motivation was very strong tonight. And so it sucks that we got robbed of Bilal versus Leon. That's the main thing. I think because that could have played out differently based off of what we saw tonight with Nate Diaz. It could have played out differently. Leon just gets too calm, too comfortable in there. Who knows what would happen?
Give Bilal Nate Diaz.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like that wouldn't be too bad.
Not too bad at all, no. Bilal's pretty strong. He's pretty cut. He's just smaller, I guess.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it won't happen, though, because Bilal is not a draw, so it's not going to happen. Nate Diaz is going to fight people who are draws, that are big. Conor McGregor is the perfect thing, especially if he loses. That is the perfect fight to make, and it will 100% happen. Yeah, or Jorge Masvidal, too.
We got a month to break that bad boy down.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait. That I don't feel any more confident in Connor this time around. I don't.
I do. I do.
We'll get into that down the road, but I don't. You ready to get into some segments? I think we already covered Paul Craig and Jamal Hill.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. We're going to get into your fired pink slips first. Here we go. All righty, here we go. The pink slips of UFC 263. And I'll be honest, guys, I don't really have much. There's one that really sticks out to me. But Josh, I will let you go first.
You gonna let me go first?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's kind of hard tonight.
It's not.
One that sticks out is Matt Revela. You lose 7 seconds to a guy. I know your record's 8-3, but you lost 7 seconds to a guy that fought last Friday. You're super chinny. You're not very exciting. It was your birthday yesterday, and you didn't have the motivation to win the fight the next day. That sounds terrible, but
don't hate on the steamroller.
That sounds terrible, but yeah, I mean, my pink slip for sure is Matt Frivola. For sure, Matt.
Wow, you're hating on the steamroller for Vola.
And then maybe even McKinney for fucking up his knee after, because that was stupid. Like, oh man, super exciting fight. You get a bunch of decisions, then you get a 7-second fight. Matt Frivola, I don't know, Chase Hooper was an option, but he's so young. I'll give him time. Matt Frivola, you're done. You're done.
Wow, no, I think Frivola gets one more. He lost his last fight out, but put it on a decent performance. So I think that he gets one more, but definitely not a good look when you get dropped like that, especially by someone who took the fight on short notice. My you're fired is going to be two people. Actually, I have three people.
Three?
I have three. I have Carlos Felipe and Jake Collier. They both need to get cut. Carlos Felipe has won every fight in the UFC by split decision.
I know.
Every fight by split decision. He's terrible. Get him out.
Fight.
Huh?
He lost that fight tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every single fight that he wins by split decision, he actually lost, but somehow the judges say he wins. I don't understand it. And Jake Collier is not much better. I think he trains at Dakota Bush, and I like Dakota Bush. He's been on our show. But I'm sorry, he's just not it. He's not it a heavyweight. And I would keep Jake Collier before I keep Carlos Felipe. Every single win is a split decision, and he loses and somehow wins. I don't get it. It's the weirdest thing ever. So I'm cutting his ass. I can't wait. He's probably the guy I hate the most in the entire UFC. Like I hate him. I cannot stand him. He sucks. Like he's terrible. The only other person I would say is cut, but I don't want to do this, but it's got to be Demian Maia. It's got I don't know about cut. Like he needs to retire. I don't want to say you're fired. I almost want to convince him to retire because he's such a OG. But dude, he's bad. Like he's done. He's done. Like he's not competing with that. He's done. Get him out of here. Get him out of town. I'm sorry. Like you don't have to fire him. Just convince this man to retire. Let him, do something else. Be a trainer. I don't know what he's gonna do, but like he needs to stop fighting. 43 years old. Like he's only 7 years younger than my dad, which is pretty crazy. Like he just needs to hang it up. And all great things come to an end. I say it to my own children. All great things come to an end. You gotta, eventually gotta hang it up. And he was number 9 for how long? Like he stayed in the top 10 for a long while in that division. But when your only strength is submissions and you can't get a guy smaller than you to the ground, that's a problem. Like there was not one time where Bilal Muhammad almost went down. Like nothing. There was nothing from Demian Maia. Shout out to him for not getting knocked out, but he needs to go. Not fired, but he needs to retire.
I thought you were going to say Alexis Davis.
Nah. I mean,
who was your third one?
I had 2. I had Felipe Collier, and then I had Demian Maia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good one. No,
also I hate Lauren Murphy, so she can get fired too, even though she won.
You're fired. No one's touching Shevchenko. That proved that tonight.
I was a little upset with JoJo Calderwood. I was hoping she'd do a little bit more. I thought she fought a little too timid tonight.
Yeah, I mean, when you're coming off a win against Jessica Ai, it's Lauren Murphy is better than Jessica Ai, so maybe not in the OnlyFans category, but in the fighting category, she's a little bit better, so it shows. It shows.
Yes, definitely not in the OnlyFans category.
Nope, touching her.
Not even with a 10-foot pole. All right, here we go with the Sheath underwear superlatives of the night. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Sheath superlatives of the night. Go do yourselves a favor. It is hot in here. It is hot outside. It is hot everywhere. Go to sheathunderwear.com. Use promo code Coffee and KOs. Get 20% off your entire purchase. Your balls will thank you later. I promise they will be nice and decompartmentalized. I always want to say this and I always mess it up. There's a perfect pouch for them to sit in and keep them cool and not stick to your leg. So go get yourself a pair. Promise you will thank us later. So don't forget to sheath your dagger. Go to sheathunderwear.com. Use promo code Coffee and KOs. Get 20% off your entire purchase. Here we go. First category of the night is the Jacked on Caffeine performance of the night. And I am going with Terrence McKinney. Terrence McKinney gets my Jacked on Caffeine performance of the night. You come out 7 seconds, man. Tied for the 4th fastest knockout in UFC history. 7 seconds. Took the fight on short notice. Fought last Friday. Comes back and steamrolls the steamroller. He derailed that train, knocked him out real quick. And listen, the only thing that he did bad in that fight was mess up his knee. Hopefully it was only a hyperextension, not anything torn, but probably torn. The thing is, though, he really didn't do anything. Like, I thought he did like a backflip off the cage or something. He didn't really do anything stupid. His story sounds really cool. Coming from, his mom was in gangs and everything, comes from a really tough background, made it out, and, puts on a hell of a performance in his UFC debut. That's the way you make a statement. From a betting standpoint, our old friend Aaron the Dog would say probably be betting against McKinney next time because he'll probably come in a pretty heavy favorite. But no, hell of a performance and definitely one of the most electric finishes of the night.
Yeah, Jacked on Caffeine performance of the night. Not the easy pick. One of the picks is Moreno, but I feel like he's the champion now. He's going to get the respect that he deserves. So who I'm going to pick is Paul Craig. Paul Craig deserves all the credit tonight because Jamal Hill tweeted 20 minutes before the fight, we're going to be smoking that Craig pack tonight. And that is not true because he ended up with a dislocated elbow. And Paul Craig moves up the ranking. He stole the hype of Jamal Hill. And he's definitely a guy to be weary of at 205. So Paul Craig, Jacked on Caffeine, you deserve it. That was impressive. That took me by surprise, if anything. So, yeah, Paul Craig for sure.
All righty, we're going to move to the espresso shot of the night. Who do you got?
Terrence McKinney. It was an easy pick. The 1-2 combo right down the middle. Finished Matt Frivola in your UFC debut, and you literally fought 7 days ago. I was super happy for Terrence McKinney tonight. I don't really necessarily know the guy. I've just kind of come around to him, and he's making himself known in the UFC, the MMA realm. So Terrence McKinney, I can't wait to watch you fight next because you've been KOing everybody in the first round. So espresso shot of the night. Yeah,
maybe we'll be reaching out to Terrence McKinney to come on the MMA Stooges channel.
Hit him up. Yeah, I love it.
So that was my espresso shot of the night too, but I will switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna go Nate Diaz. I know he lost the fight, but the shot that he had in round 5. Did you see Leon's eyes after he wore that shot? Hit
him with the slap and then the left.
Yeah, right. The slap in the left. Yeah, that to me is a clean shot, clean 1-2. And Leon was out of it there for a little bit. It took him a while. I don't know that he really came to the The round was over. Diaz loses the fight, but that was probably the most significant shot of the whole entire fight, really. I mean, I know it's sad to say because Leon put on a good performance, but that was probably one of the biggest shots of the entire night. Really, really good, 1-2 from with the Stockton slap to the left, and yeah, I'm gonna give it to. It was originally Terrence McKinney. You stole it, which is totally okay. So I will go with Nate Diaz.
I mean, Riddell and Dover were throwing bombs all fight.
Yes,
so
that's true. Yes,
that's a good one too. They were all night, and then even Collier and they were in
Felipe.
Carlos Felipe. They were throwing bombs all night too. So those were shots.
All right, decaf performance of the night.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go Chase Hooper.
Pooper.
I'm gonna go Chase Hooper.
That guy's a turd.
I'm never impressed with Chase Hooper, and then
human punching bag.
Every time I watch him fight, I just get less impressed with him. And I thought his ground game would be a little bit better. Steven Peterson didn't make weight. That's on Steven Peterson, but Chase Hooper I don't see a future for this guy. I don't know why. He's young in the game, but I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I don't know why you keep throwing this guy against guys. I don't know what he's doing out there.
My decaf performance of the night. Man, I could choose a lot of people. I really could. I could choose Felipe and Jake Collier again. I hate Carlos Felipe. But I'm honestly gonna go Bilal Muhammad. I was so unimpressed. I don't care. I was so unimpressed by Bilal Muhammad tonight. I really was. People are gonna hate it. I expected that from Damian Maia because he's 43 years old. It probably hurts to bend over. But Bilal Muhammad, man, come on, dude. Like, you're fighting someone who's 43 years old. And you literally couldn't. Like, I feel like he didn't even really land anything. I feel like he didn't do anything the entire fight.
Against that black belt, he had to just defend the whole fight. Just had to.
There's been people that have put away Damian Maia, though. Like,
Gilbert.
Bilal Muhammad just didn't do it. And Bilal Muhammad doesn't finish people. And it was just, for me, that fight just sucked. I hated everything about that fight from beginning to end. Oh, man, I feel like Bruce Buffer even wanted to take that one off. It was an awful fight. I wasn't even looking forward to it at all. And it just reassured me that fight was going to suck right after it happened. I was so pissed.
Your decaf is Bilal Muhammad.
Yep.
All right.
Nico had a good decaf. It's his decaf for the night goes to Al Gwynne.
The referee, yes. That guy.
The referee who allowed Jamal Hill's arm to turn into jello. This is what I don't get. And this is my last point before we shut this down. Why the hell, on one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, do we have some schmuck that we have never seen before reffing? Why? Why was Herb Dean not in there? Okay, Herb Dean was there today, but what happened to Yves Levine? Where's he been? Where's Mark Smith? Where are they in this? Like, why was this clown there? I've never seen this guy a day in my life. It looks like they picked him out of the crowd.
I saw him before the fight, and I was sketched out. But I'll say the Stooges called for Mark Goddard, and Mark Goddard was there tonight.
And Jason Herzog, which shout out to Jason Herzog, had hip replacement surgery, and his movement tonight was pristine. He was moving better than Damian Maia, without a doubt. Like, he was moving all over, way better than Damian Maia.
That's a real ref right there.
Yeah, so I was happy. I wanted Mark Goddard. He came back. Shout out to him with the interaction on Twitter. Good guy. And we wanted Jason Herzog, and he was back as well. It was great to see those guys back in the octagon. Hopefully less of Herbal Dean now and more of Herzog and Mark Goddard. Definitely two of the better. And Mark Smith, yes.
My new GOAT. He's my new GOAT. Mark Smith.
Mark Smith?
Herb Dean. I'm going Mark Smith. He's my guy now.
Do you think he's the best ref in the UFC?
I think he's the best ref. I do. I think Mark Smith is the best ref in the UFC.
My decaf performance of the night has been switched to Josh Byers, Josh Beasy. That is an awful take. It's either Mark Goddard or Jason Herzog.
Mark Goddard's he's on a layoff, man.
He's back now.
Well, is
he going to have ring rust?
I got to see a little bit more from Mark Goddard before I reclaim him or if I ever claimed him the best ref.
The resume speaks for itself. The guy literally has like 0 fuck-ups. Him and
Smith,
Jason Herzog.
He's a rising contender in the
Mark Smith let Alan Cruz get his ass beat for 15 minutes instead of stopping the fight.
Hey, man. It is what it is sometimes in there.
He took that Herb Dean training course. Don't stop the fight until the pulse is almost not there.
The best of both worlds. Mark Smith embraces that. Mark Goddard, he's a little too high on himself maybe sometimes, but I like the guy. I like that.
All right, Mark Goddard number 1 or 2, Jason Herzog number 1 or 2, Mark Smith 3.
Okay.
Mark Smith is 3.
All
Herb
right.
Dean, I don't know. Mario Yamasaki isn't even last anymore. That other clown that ref today is last.
Yeah.
He's a loser. He needs to get cut from the UFC. That should have been my pink slip.
Yep.
That guy.
That guy that we don't ever want to talk about. We don't know his name. Get him out of here. He's terrible. He let Jamal Hill's arm just flap in the wind like nothing.
Jamal Hill's arm tapped before he tapped.
It was flapping everywhere, and he didn't stop the fight. It was horrible.
His own arm was telling him to stop, and his brain was like, no. He didn't tap. That was disgusting. He couldn't even let his arm go. Like if he picked his arm up, it would have just folded the other way like a hamburger bun.
Oh,
it doesn't make any sense to me. Is the way the human body works is just weird. I guess when you dislocate your elbow, your arm like has no support then because that is the middle of your arm. So it just like that's it. It just folds like
UFC. When you put this on ESPN Plus, black out his face or just like scribble it out because I don't want to know his name. I don't want to know the referee's name. Erase it from the memories of the octagon or like anything. I don't want to know this guy.
This guy should be banned with Mario Yamasaki. I heard Yamasaki's coming back.
Flapping.
Yeah.
Get him out. Yeah. Fuck that guy.
He needs to go. All right, man. Anything else for the good of the cause before we shut her down?
No, good night. I'm ready for July 10th. I'm ready for the next fight nights coming up. So it's gonna be.
Who do we got next week?
God, I don't know.
This is too early to think about. Oh, we got Zombie versus Ige next week.
Okay, I'm down with Zombie. Zombie's always entertaining, and then Ige came off a fantastic performance. So we'll see. And they always surprise. Dana White loves to surprise us with mini bangers on fight night. So we're always in for a good stuff with the UFC for sure. So even if it's a pay-per-view, even if it's a fight night, you gotta love it.
We need a crowd back for fight night though. I'm sick of this Apex bullshit.
Yep.
Last point. Arizona was the worst crowd of the 3 crowds so far. Florida number 1, Houston number 2, and Arizona number 3. Arizona, aside from the pop for Izzy and Diaz, I just felt like that night was pretty shitty. Lots of booing too. Like, let's respect the game here. Like, I get it. We don't like the wrestling and the decisions, but we got to respect the game. We cannot be sitting here and booing. You know, that's going to get us kicked right the fuck back out. We need to stay back in there and let's be respectful of the game.
That is a strong take.
You like that?
I like that take.
All right, clip it. We'll put it on the gram. That's going to do it, guys. Make sure if you liked what you heard, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Also, thanks to all of you that tuned into the live stream. You guys need to stop being so scared. Call the number 908-509-1466. Talk UFC with us. We will be back. Yeah, we'll be back Monday. All right, Monday previewing Zombie versus Ige. As we do every week. May have an interview this week at some point. I got some fighters that I basically put on hold, so I'm trying to find some time. Yeah, I know we're big leaguing now. Shouldn't do that. Bad look for us. But stay tuned. We got Dawkins on the horizon. He'll be back here, as well as O'Day Osborne, friends of the show. They will be back with us at some point whenever we find the time. If you liked what you heard, hit the subscribe button. Follow us everywhere at the MMA Stooges. Make sure you go check out Sheath Underwear. Go to sheathunderwear.com. Use promo code Coffee and KOs. Josh says, let's go Phoenix Suns. And we will see all of you on Monday.